Good afternoon. I'm Sarah TeKolste.
And I'm Lori Jenkins.
And this is our story. And that's Rainy, by the way.
Hello.
August 4th. It's the first day of my first year as a teacher. I've basically meticulously tailored my resume for the past 5 years for this moment when I'll become a Spanish teacher through Teach for America. And I've done all these ridiculous things like make this classroom management system that's very detailed, and I've made this classroom vision, and I think that I'm really ready for what I'm getting myself into. I'm starting at Emmerich Manual High School, which, for those of you who are familiar with Manual, the book about our school is called Searching for Hope, Life at a Failing School in the Heart of America, which is really inspiring. And our mascot is the Redskins. And I've spent the summer getting prepared, and I'm basically an overly caffeinated, nervous wreck. On the first day of school, about 50% of my students come into my classroom, and they are just royally pissed that they don't have Miss Brito as their Spanish teacher anymore, and she's the person who teaches next door to me. So that's probably my first clue that things might not go super smoothly that semester.
It was my senior year, and I wasn't very thrilled. Because last year we were informed that there was going to be a lot of changes in our staff and faculty and policy. And as much as I hate to admit it, I had issues with change because a lot of my life has been constant change, and I had no control over it. Due to financial issues at home with my family, and my hormones and emotions were through the roof, like no idea. And I was just going through a lot at the time. But the only place that I had hope for solace was Miss Brito's class. And when I arrived to Spanish class, there was no Brito, and there was nobody that I even knew except for two of my closest friends, Shelby and Jenna. And the three of us were equally upset, and we were ready to switch. But I remember hearing the other kids complaining also. But when I saw Miss TeKolste's upbeat smile and just happiness, it irritated my soul. I was just, my safe haven was taken from me, and, I had to find it somewhere else, in someone or something, no matter how much damage it caused.
So I'm really excited to teach Spanish 3 honors, and there's a group of girls who sits in the back, and pretty much all they do is complain about me, and I can usually hear them. So I gather pretty quickly that they're not happy that they don't have Miss Brito anymore, that they're very displeased with my teaching, but I'm desperate to win them over. And so one day I come into the copy room, which is supposed to be only for teachers, and there's a student in there, and she's crying hysterically. And it's one of the girls from the back table. And so I awkwardly have no idea what to do, and so I just sit across from her, and I just start feeding her goldfish, and hoping that she'll calm down. And somewhere in the conversation, she manages to work in if only you were Miss Brito, you would understand what I was going through. At one point, Lori, I was excited because I could see some engagement from Lori, especially the girls in the back were interested in learning about Frida Kahlo. And so they would raise their hands and start to ask questions. And I was excited thinking that I was starting to hook them. One day, though, I heard Lori saying that, Miss Brito taught this so much better. And so in a moment of weakness, I went up to her and I was like, you know that I can hear you, right? And that kind of hurts my feelings. And it wasn't very effective. She was pretty much unfazed, and there was no change. Another one of the girls said that she refused to learn preterite conjugations until I learned the song that Miss Brito had written, which was a version of Daddy Yankee's Lo que pasó, pasó, to teach the preterite endings. And I had already made my copies for the next day. I had everything ready to go. But because I was so desperate to please them, I stayed after school, and thankfully Miss Brito was gracious enough and patient enough with me that she taught me all the dance moves, she taught me the whole song, and we did that the next day. I was really excited to teach the girls and the whole class this version of the song, but they informed me that Miss Brito had done it better.
I remember that week very clearly because I was actually excited to come to class. I actually had somewhat of an understanding and connection to Frida Kahlo. Although she had suffered many illnesses and tragedy incidents throughout her life, she still managed to overcome all those things. And regardless of her accident, she never let that hinder her spirit or her talent. But the most inspiring thing that Miss T taught was just that although, she went through so many just heartbreaking and heartfelt things, she didn't care about all that. All she cared about was her art. But sometimes I did feel a little bad about how I treated Miss TeKolste, but I just shook it off, though. She really didn't understand how difficult it was to have my safe place taken from me. Or so I thought, we really didn't communicate that. I didn't. But I spent hurtful words to her because I just wanted her to hurt too.
October 5th is the day of the quarter one surveys where I receive feedback from my students. And so I'm really eager to see what they have to say about how I can improve my instruction and what I've been doing well so far. And I come across one of the surveys that has all ones for strongly disagree in every category. And so I read that one first. And it's Lori's handwriting, and it says, "You just, ... I don't know, ... but it's not good." And then it said, "I used to want to be a Spanish teacher, but I don't anymore because of you and your class."
I'm not horrible, okay?
So I was devastated. Not only was I not as fun or as heartwarming or as effective as Miss Brito, who was actually my friend, by the way, and still is, but I was actually actively discouraging my students from liking my subject and wanting to continue studying it. So I cried a lot, and I considered quitting my job.
I'm not horrible, I promise. But life at home for me was pretty bad. Like I said, I worked a lot, late hours, and I was just young and dumb, dating boys and stuff like that, stupid. And my family was trying to stay together in this hotel that was just absolutely horrible, like a horrible environment. And the summer leading into my senior year, an old friend and I met up, and we planned to get together in October during fall break so we could talk about our futures together and what we wanted to do. In October, I took a trip to the guidance office to see how well I was progressing with my graduating early plan. And I was informed that I wouldn't be, but I worked really hard, so that kind of hurt me really bad. So what I did was I had that knowledge and I took it to Miss T's Spanish class, and I was completely distraught. But that was the day that we had to give feedback. And I was hurt and upset and had nobody to blame. So I took that anger out on paper. And after school, I called Candace, and coincidentally, she wouldn't be graduating either. So.
November 10th is a serious low point. I bought one of the girls from the back table a bagel in a desperate attempt to win her love. And I bribe her to stay after school with me and tell me what is wrong with me. Her feedback is extraordinarily unhelpful, and I want my bagel back.
November comes, and I'm not really feeling school anymore. I quit my job, and I began hanging around people that my best friend and my boyfriend knew. And, I really didn't want the pressure of responsibilities anymore. So what I did was I just turned my heart off and my mind off of reality. And I just started thinking, I worked really hard to get where I was, and I wanted to graduate early, but, I wasn't. So imagine how I would feel being 17 with that kind of mindset. But one night, my mom comes in, and she informs us that we'd be moving to a better environment.
December 9th, Lori hasn't been coming to school. She emails me to ask if there's any work she can do to bring her grades up from the comfort of my own home. I send her something to work on, but I encourage her to come to school.
I miss school, and I miss school again. We are moving, and I put my social life ahead of my education. You wanted to see me fail, so here I am. School was getting harder anyways, and when graduating early failed, my foot was out the door, but with pre-cal, that class practically kicked me out. And in order to keep my mom pleased, I asked Miss T if there was any work that I needed. And our house was close to Manual, so I felt displeased.
January 6th. Lori's still on my roster but hasn't showed up to school yet this semester. I email her to see if everything is okay. She replies that she'll be coming in the following day to drop out. I'm totally demoralized.
After getting all moved in, I decided maybe I should just take online classes. I'm not a complete failure. But I turned 18 in February, so I started living la vida loca. And spring comes along, and it wasn't fun anymore having that kind of life, not going to school or anything. And I saw my friends having all these, going to all these games and attending field trips. And a lot of my friends and my peers asked where I was, if I was pregnant or if I was dead. And you know what? Miss T was the only teacher to reach out to me during that period when I wasn't at school. And, that kind of just, I don't know, my heart was really warm. And one day, Candace and I, my best friend, we were sitting in McDonald's, and she asked, "Do you know any schools with night school?" Ding, ding. So we attended Manual's night school program.
May 27th, Lori graduates despite missing more than half of the days of her senior year. I am very blindsided when she asks to take a photo with me after the ceremony, and I'm even more blindsided when she says, "Hey, we should meet up at Starbucks sometime and you can help me with my FAFSA." So that was the turning point, I think, for us. Now we're gonna fast forward to today. Lori and I talk almost every day. She's like a little sister to me. We talk about job applications, college and scholarship searches. We get tacos a lot with our friend Bridget. And she talks about her plans for the future. And one of the greatest honors of my life was to be present with Lori after her daughter was born at the hospital, and then later to be named godmother to Rainey. I never would have thought that we would have this relationship from the beginning, and I just think it's a testament to how relationships can change, and also you don't know what people are going through. And I think it's a really important message for first-year teachers as well, and it's something that I always try and keep in mind. So with that said, I'm now going to interview Lori about her perceptions of me from the beginning. So first question, what are your plans for the future?
I want to be a Spanish teacher. And I want to be a Spanish teacher because Spanish opens doors, to two separate lives. So, we can communicate not only in English, but in Spanish also. And a lot of people don't know either or language, so, I just feel like it's a passageway to connect everybody, or people who speak Spanish.
What do you think were the things that made you dislike me so much?
I was going through a lot, and you were happy, and I wasn't. And I had the mindset, you didn't understand, and I couldn't make you understand, how I was in my thinking. So I don't know, I was just really upset that I just didn't have Miss Brito at the time, the person that understood what I was going through.
What do you think I could have done differently to build a better relationship with you from the beginning?
Well, I'm not going to say, hey, maybe I should just ask about, my problems, but you were pretty open anyways, but maybe if you just, sat down and talked to me, I probably would have been more open with you. Yeah.
Is there anything that your teachers could have done to keep you in school during your senior year?
Maybe probably the same, I had a lot of people tell me, you're not gonna be anything when you grow up. You're just gonna be a statistic. And why would you say that to me or anybody? It's hurtful. You could at least try to connect instead of yelling. Talk to me, not at me.
Is there anything that you would have wanted me to know about you that would have improved our relationship from the beginning?
Probably that my living situation. I was actually considered homeless because I was living in a hotel. And a lot of kids also knew that at my school. So a lot of rumors were going around about me, a lot of rumors. So I just didn't want to be in that environment. But I think that if maybe you knew, you could have helped or could have eased my mind.
When do you think was the turning point in our relationship?
Probably when I realized that you were the only person who came to me, outside of school.
why do I get to be godmother to that beautiful baby?
I'm trying to explain this the easiest way possible. So to me, you are one of my biggest role models in my life, and you are what I want to be when I, progress. So, and if I want Rainy to know that there's always somebody who can help you. Like, even when I was at my lowest, you were still there for me. And, when something ever happens to me or my mom or somebody who can't, be there for Rainy, I know that you will be.
So from my relationship with you, I've learned that you never know what people are going through or how your relationship can change. So how has our relationship changed your ideas about who you'd like to be as a teacher?
I want to be a teacher that not only asks about how your work is going or how, if you need help with homework, but do you need help with anything else? Do you need help with just somebody to sit and listen to you while you talk about your problems? No, I'm not going to tell DCS or whatever, but I'm here for you. Like, no matter what you have to say to me, I'm going to try to help you regardless of your situation. And I want to teach in a low-income school because that's where I come from, and a lot of people don't. So, not downing you at all in any way, but I feel like I can connect to you guys, and she can connect to me. So it's like anybody can connect to someone as long as you really want to. Does that make sense? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.